Welcome to Scott's Car Stuff. Oh, it's been a long time since we posted, but we're going to do something a bit different today. We're going to drive through all of my cars and we're going to rate them on how shit they are. And what the good points of them are. So this is one you probably haven't seen before. We've only seen in passing. So this is a 1998 Subaru Liberty GX. So all-wheel drive, 5-speed manual. The radio doesn't work. The speedo doesn't work. It's got the exhaust of an 18-year-old on it. Not an 18-year-old exhaust, but the kind of exhaust that an 18-year-old puts on their car. Stop sniggering. Well, it's good. The air conditioner works. The fuel gauge works. The car goes cool. It's got an oil leak, but it's a Subaru, so such it is. What else? As I said, it goes well. Oh, it's got an engine light on. This car predates OBD2 requirements, so it requires joining a couple of plugs together to determine what the engine fault is. I suspect that it's the poor catalytic converter, because you put this 3-inch catback exhaust on a car that's not designed to have that. Ultimately something goes wrong, so I suspect that's what the issue is. Cruise control doesn't work. For a 26-year-old car, it's got everything that opens shuts. Most of it doesn't work. Electric windows, they all work. ABS, cruise control, 4-wheel disc brakes, rack and pinion steering, 2.2 litre overhead cam engine. So it's pretty cool. Friends of ours on their bikes. Odd people. They're lovely people. That's just a cyclist joke. Yeah, we'll have a look around it. Oh, that's the other thing about it. There's not a straight panel on the car, which is unfortunate. In fact, there's only one of them really, which kind of is the touch of death. But we'll have a look around. When we get where we're going, we'll have a look around it and we'll go from there. Cheers. Better check the oil. So here's the 98 Liberty, or Legacy if you're from a different country. So pretty cool. Doesn't look too, bumper's had a bit of a rough time. That's the third guard there that I've replaced. That door's not bad. There's the part that makes it a problem. Rear bumper's had its time. Both corners. How cool is it? Oh, look at that frameless door. Awesome. It's not a bad little car. It's a good driver. Does the thing. Rev's a bit high, so it's geared quite low. In that I mean 5th gear has you like pumping along at 3,000 RPM on the freeway, but other than that, it's a good car. It goes all right. Hasn't got a huge amount of Ks on it, less than 200. Good fun. Next we have a 1969 HT Holden coupe utility. I've had this car for a while. Probably the longest of these cars that I'm going to show you today. This one's had a little bit of work done. I've done an engine, rebuilt the engine and done some interior. I haven't done the paint, that's how it came. Do little bits and pieces with this one. I'd like to say we just jump in and drive them, but we better check the oil and water in these cars before we go. That would be bad otherwise. It's pretty empty in there, but we'll check it out, make sure it's safe to drive, and we'll fire it up and go. So we're in the Holden 4-speed manual on the floor, which is relatively rare. The most common, I guess, model or accessories was the 3 on the tree. They also came with a automatic, Trimatic 3-speed auto, also known as the Traumatic. Very basic. They didn't come with the radio. They came with almost no instrumentation, just lights, fuel gauge and a speedometer. That's pretty much all they came with. Glove box, bench seat. That's pretty much it. No fuel. This car is a very simple pushrod straight 6, about 3 litres capacity, 186 cubic inches. Leaf spring rear end, obviously, being a utility. A squeaky noise, sounds like one of the brakes is dragging. Hasn't been driven for 6 months. It's on what we know as historic registration here in New South Wales, the state that I'm in, because it's a car over 30 years old. Whatsoever, and there's only 4 speeds, not 5. 36 or 38 psi to make the steering a little bit easier, which is, you could describe it as heavy and vague. That's pretty much how they came out of the factory. This carburetor on this is a 2-barrel carby, most of which came out with a single barrel Stromberg. This is a 2-barrel Stromberg. This car is an example of being old enough to do what you wanted to do when you were 18 and finally have the money for it. That's pretty cool. I like it. Can you see anything that way?
No.
They were very basic. If they came out with a side mirror, they only came out with one. From the factory, they came with about 100 horsepower in this engine. You could get a V8, 253 cubic inch V8, but exceptionally rare. Not so rare in some of the other models. So some of this is the absolute base model ultimately. Whilst I've got Kingswood badges on it, it would be a Belmont, which is the bottom of the heap. This in the Holdens, this 69 was the first year they had a 3-speed transmission with synchro on first. As I said, this is a 4-speed button. So before that they had what was affectionately known as the crash box, which was a 3-speed with no synchro on first, so you have to stop. Got the air conditioner with the quarter vent window. This series, HKTG, the last to have the quarter window for Holden. This 6-cylinder engine, the red motor, was basically the last 6-cylinder engine that Holden made in Australia. It went through some iterations over the next, 69 through to like 84, I think. And the VK Commodore, I think, was the last one to have by that stage a black, they just painted it black engine, and the capacity went up to 3.3 litres or 202 cubic inches. But from 66, I think, this engine up to that point was the last 6-cylinder they made in Australia. Then they went to the Buick V6, I think, fully imported. Ran the V8s for a little bit longer, and then went LS route, which everybody did. 7/8 exhaust pipe, that's it. But most of what you can hear here in the cabin is not the exhaust, it's the engine noise through the firewall and the gearbox. Get up to about 80 k's an hour and you outrun the engine noise and you can just hear the gearbox. As I said, rebuilt this engine. It's probably done about 1,000 miles. So the speedo's in kilometres, but the odometer is in miles. We're a bit confused at this time in Australia. We didn't know which way we were going. Those extractors, just put the factory performance exhaust. It's like a 2-piece cast iron into a twin pipe, then into a single. I'll do that. As I said, sound deadening, do that exhaust. That's probably major things. Put another mirror on it. It's interesting. So modern cars have got convex glass. Big blue-tongued lizard on the road there that I nearly ran over. But this tiny little mirror is flat glass, which is all we had. But it is shocking how little you can see out of it. One of the things that you kind of forget. Hardly surprising that that you needed to do a head check when you were changing lanes or merging, because that's shocking. And here it is, the coolest of them all, the Subaru Brumby. You've got it down from its lofty perch. The 1989 Subaru Brumby. Only came in one flavour, 4-wheel drive manual, with the horizontally opposed E81 pushrod engine. So predating the EJ engine, which was a overhead cam. This is a pushrod, so cam in block, overhead valve engine, horizontally opposed. Not much horsepower, but ultimately the coolest car that I've got here. So let's go. So we're away in the Brumby. So 4-speed manual, bit limited on the top speed. Speedo goes to 180, but if we get halfway there, I'd be surprised. Got to get used to the noises and the feel. Smells a bit clutchy. Clutch is a long way out. That's probably what it is. That's 60 k's. Tacho will be handy to figure out how fast the engine is going. I'll just count the clicky noises that it makes as it goes through. That's alright, that looks pretty smooth. Kind of. Oh, those front shocks need doing. Oh, look at that. Smooth as a whistle through the gearbox. We might need to go off-road just to test it out. Chirp the tyre then. This is cool. Reportedly the E81 engine in these are unbreakable. This one's done 267,000 kilometres. It's not unusual to see them at 300,000, especially now given that they're all nearly 40 years old. They're quite popular for a an EJ22 swap. So they're pretty cool fun. Capable little four-wheel drive, so a real four-wheel drive with a transfer case in it. Here's a bit of oil, Subaru. Cassette deck, probably original. No aircon. Aircon, you could get them with a Targa roof as well, but they're very desirable and rare. I imagine that that the air conditioner is going to suck a bit of the meager power that they have. So just wind the windows down. There we're at. So we're up to 7 75% of its maximum power. Seems to go pretty easy. It might be screaming a little bit by the time it gets to 90 or 100. You hungry?
Yep.
Let's go and grab something to eat. So here's the car collection. Got 2 Subarus, just by accident, not because I'm a crazy Subaru person. Well, I think that's the definition of a crazy Subaru person, isn't it? Is that you end up with Subarus. So that's what's happened. So it all started with this car, and then I got the Brumby because I like utes and we like a bit of fun, and I needed this because my other ute's playing up, so I bought that cheap to get around, and so they're the cars that we drive around. It's a bit of cool fun. Cheers. So the wrap up of the car test driving today. We went out in the Liberty, we drove all 3 cars, they're all good fun, and we've come home in the Brumby. There, the decision's made.